Greetings from France. I'm James Aronson, co-founder and co-trustee of the Ecological Health Network, a startup not-for-profit that calls itself a global action network based in ecological restoration, but seeking to identify and elucidate and strengthen the linkages between ecological restoration and human health. I have little time and I have a lot to tell you about, so I'm going to merge the strategy of the Ecological Health Network, or EHN for short, with the broad ideas, the new paradigm that we are hoping to promote of a restorative culture or a restoration culture as a paradigm for the 21st century. I won't be presenting any data, friends, because no data exists. This is really the very beginning of a new stage in the science, practice, business, and policy of ecological restoration and restoration ecology. The Ecological Health Network is trying to promote the development of explicit human health and well-being components, in restoration projects that already exist but are not yet studying this interface. We are also hoping and aiming and beginning to increase the visibility and interconnectedness of ecological restoration projects that have human health and well-being components, but they're not being fully developed, researched, integrated, because all of that takes time and money, and everybody is already very busy. We're also trying to help weave a global network of sites, hubs, which is what we call existing networks of sites in a given area, and regional networks at a larger spatial scale of restoration sites, hubs, and maybe even networks, so-called networks in a given region that are eager to work together, who believe in the value of networking. 1 + 1 + 1 = 6, not just 3, if you get what I mean. And refining the eco-health hypothesis. Of course, the term eco-health requires definition. Very briefly, it's when one considers ecosystem health and human health together and addresses problems related to ecological or ecosystem sickness, degradation, impairment on the one hand, and human ill health on the other. And I'll get to our hypothesis next. But again, these are just some of the general lines of vision, the aspirational vision and mission that a bunch of people from different disciplines and from different parts of the world are working together under the name Ecological Health Network. We also feel, as many of us are academics, but addressing all teachers everywhere and people responsible for research and educational institutions, we need to change the curricula. There needs to be inclusion of ecological and environmental determinants of ill health and health in human populations into the curricula and daily practice of clinical and population health researchers and practitioners. This requires a strong focus on traditional ecological knowledge in each part of the world and the wisdom of indigenous peoples. So our hypothesis is this. This is an untested hypothesis, people, that we are setting out to get on the radar screens of everyone in ecological restoration and try to raise funds and gather teams to test this hypothesis at restoration sites. Ecological restoration and allied activities along the restorative continuum presented in Gan et al., reference here below, can enhance and become self-reinforcing for both ecosystem health and human health / well-being at local to global scales. I repeat, ecological restoration can enhance and become self-reinforcing for ecosystem health and human health at local to global scales. Here it is again in different words. Participatory ecological restoration, or healing, to borrow language from the indigenous peoples of the world, healing of impaired ecosystems, including SES, that is social ecological systems. This kind of participatory ecological healing can bring health benefits to local people, especially those participating in the restorative work. A nice phrase exists that has been popularized by the indigenous scholar Robin Wall Kimmerer in the United States. She didn't coin the term, but she has made great use of it and brought it home to me personally in a powerful way. What is described in this second version of the eco-health hypothesis, the EHN's eco-health hypothesis, is reciprocal restoration. As we restore ecosystems upon which we depend for our well-being, we restore ourselves. We restore a healthier relationship between us, Homo sapiens, and the ecosystems of which we are part and upon which we depend. Again, we are part of them. We are restoring from the inside out. And another way of putting this is that we need to be thinking about healing the people, including ourselves as individuals and our families and communities, and heal the land, all in one breath. But what is needed upstream? What is needed upstream? To make this possible, upstream in a political sense, rule changes and paradigm shifts, to cite the two most important levers to affect change in systems popularized by the late Donella Meadows, co-author of the Limits to Growth report of the Club de Rome, and who made great contributions to our thinking about all kinds of issues in the subsequent years. The EcoHealth or Ecological Health Network published several papers in the last 3 years, including this one, A World of Possibilities, which we published just before the United Nations Decade on Ecosystem Restoration was launched. And this is a line of work for us that we're pursuing in our public outreach and communications. Take a look at this schematic for a moment, if you will. Degrading factors. Here we've listed just a few of the numerous vectors of degradation that we face worldwide. And now follow the 3 red arrows to pathways to healing and see the 2 parts here. Ecological restoration, which is what we're all gathered here for 2 days to talk about, thanks to GER and others, and related restorative activities along the restoration continuum, these pathways to healing ecosystems, plus underneath the big arrow, public health education, research and practice that takes ecological restoration into account and says, hey, these people think they can do good for human health by restoring ecosystems. I want to know more about that as a public health professional. As a doctor, I want to know more. I'd like to get involved. We want those people to say, yes, show me what you're doing. Let's work together. And with all of this underway, we can actually move societies and cultures and modern day assemblages of people towards a restorative culture for the 21st century. The EHN has 6 different types of sites now, but since 2020, we've made a lot of progress and the network is growing. But focus on the top, if you will. Pathways to healing with full cognizance of the degrading factors at a given site, with the goal of moving together towards a restorative culture. In Bradby et al. About the 4 Islands EcoHealth Network that Keith Bradby mentioned in his talk about Gondwana Link, take a look at this schematic, please. That is an overview and descriptive and also aspirational. You don't need me to read it out loud for you, but just do look at the titles: degraded ecosystems going left or right towards restored ecosystems, with a microbiome in the soils going from depauperate to enriched, to healed, to healing, to self-reinforcing in the soils of the ecosystems undergoing restoration. And this will lead, we argue, we propose, we suggest, to public health benefits that in turn can be evaluated in terms of participant benefits and nature appreciation and all the other positive things that will come to local populations through this process. And please look at this great paper by Bradby et al. To describe what's going on, and you can find this on the EHN website as well. We have links to all of our publications and others that we're reading and want to share with people. And time is running short, so I just want to say that we are growing in many continents around the world, including most dramatically right now, northeastern United States and adjacent Canada, where Eve Allen, our program director in the northeastern USA, is doing a great job since 2 years, and we're now moving into a phase of gathering people who would like to be part of a regional network across a wide range of contexts or land uses. Look at the 8 highly contrasted land uses and aspirational activities pictured on this map of the northeastern USA to see what the restorative continuum looks like in this part of the world, and to see how variable, how unlike these different sites are in their foci, but they're coming together to work as a regional network concerned with healing the land and healing the people. Why a network is a question that comes up a lot. We argue, look, it allows us to bring together diverse perspectives and expertise at a regional level. And these exchanges can promote and generate innovative solutions to leverage resources, expertise, capabilities across sectors and scales, and produce outcomes that individual sites could not do alone. Hence our emphasis on networking and networks of networks. A very recent paper just appeared in the premier health journal Lancet, one of its spin-offs, Lancet Planetary Health, with about 10-12 authors, including Jake Robertson, Martin Breed, Philip Weinstein, Jessica Stanhope, and others, including everyone in the core ecological health team, saying, look, people, everyone's talking about COVID-19, ecosystem restoration should be part of the discussion. First time a paper of this sort has appeared in a major health medicine science journal. And there was a predecessor, Breed et al. 2020, that's a much broader overview in the journal EcoHealth. I urge you to take a look at both of these papers. And if you need more information, if you seek to chat, to talk, to Zoom with us, please contact me or Adam Cross, who is the science director for the Ecological Health Network and who lives in Perth, Australia. Thank you for your attention.